Today, I'd like to share with you about 5 aggregates. In teaching of the Buddha, we always say that avijja, avijja, avijja. So what is the meaning of avijja? Do you understand avijja? Moha avijja. Avijja paccaya sankhara.
Ignorance.
Okay, ignorance, yes. Avijja means ignorance. Okay. Then ignorance of what? So you know now my style always ask question, right? So you need to answer.
Ignorant in your talking, and according to yourself.
Okay. So in Pali, in Sutta, Buddha gives very precise answer. Okay, what is avijja? Not knowing Four Noble Truths is avijja. So what is Four Noble Truths? First, not knowing the truth of suffering. Okay, not knowing dukkha satya. Not knowing the truth of suffering is called avijja. The second, not knowing the origin of the truth of suffering is called avijja. Number 3, not knowing there is cessation of all suffering. Number 4, not knowing the path leading to the cessation of all suffering is called avijja. So in short, not knowing the Four Noble Truths is called avijja. And in the teaching of the Buddha, the Four Noble Truths is very, very important. Without knowing the Four Noble Truths, one cannot achieve liberation. Okay, so now what is the Noble Truth of suffering?
Dạ, bây giờ bắt đầu sư cô hỏi chúng ta là cái khổ đế đầu tiên đó là gì? Somebody say birth is suffering.
Yes, yes, birth is suffering. But we don't understand. We celebrate birth. So we celebrate suffering, right? You say birth is suffering, and yet every year, we celebrate birth. Happy birthday, happy birthday. So we are celebrating suffering. Okay, so what else? The truth of suffering? Okay. So now you understand. Aging, sickness, death, separation from whom you love, right? Losing the family members, or associate with those you do not like. And in our life, we cannot get what we want, right? Many things we cannot get what we want. We only can dream, right? All these are called suffering. Okay, but the most important, the truth suffering, convey the meaning of the truth suffering is the last sentence. What are they?
Aggregates.
Yeah, 5 aggregates of clinging. Buddha say in short, Buddha say birth, aging, sickness, and death are suffering. In short, 5 aggregates of clingings are the truth of suffering. And without understanding the truth of suffering, one cannot be liberated. And Buddha said the truth of suffering, dukkha satya, must be thoroughly known, thoroughly understood. Therefore, as a meditator, we must understand 5 aggregates of clinging in order to get out of suffering. So, what are the 5 aggregates? Pancha-khanda, in Pali, Pancha-khanda. So, what are the 5 aggregates?
Yeah.
Number 1, okay, we call form aggregate. Form aggregate. So, what's the meaning of form aggregate?
Body, your body, physical body.
Okay.
Elements.
Yes, 4 elements, correct. So when we talk about form aggregate, same meaning as 4 elements. If you say body is only conventional truth,
Yes.
ultimately, this form aggregates consists of 4 elements: earth element, water element, fire element, and wind element. So, what is earth element? Do you, all of you understand 4 elements?
Yeah.
Good. So I don't have to say now.
Yeah.
Should I say or no? No need to say.
You
No need to explain. No.
You remind us.
Okay. So earth element means whatever in the body you feel hard, hard and rough. For example, the head hair you rub very rough and very hard. This is called earth element. So you can survey your body, from top of the head down to the sole. Whatever you feel hard and rough is called earth element. And whatever in the body there is flowing, for example, tears, saliva, flames, urine, sweat, blood, is called water element. And fire element, whatever in the body you feel cold and hot. The bodily temperature, the fever, and what makes your hair turn to grey, what makes your skin become wrinkled, all these are fire elements. Okay. The last one is wind element that cause your hand to flex, or the up-going wind, down-going wind, and so on. Your heartbeat, your breathing, the rising, falling of stomach, all are called wind element, Vayu Dhatu. Okay. Now, I want to ask you a question. Why these 4 elements of form aggregate becomes the truth of suffering?
Impermanent.
Very good. Because these 4 elements is impermanent. If we cling to something which is impermanent, for example, you cling to the body is only conventional truth. Right? If you cling to the body, it's I, my, myself, I, my, myself. When the body changes, or you cling to the body is perfect, permanent. And when the body, the health change, then you suffer, you feel unhappy, you feel sorrowful, right? You feel depressed. Therefore, clinging to the 4 elements in the body as permanence, as happiness, as having a self, this is the truth of suffering. Okay, now we come to the second aggregate, feeling aggregate, Vedana. So feeling has the characteristic of feels something, feels pleasant, unpleasant, neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Right? This is feeling's characteristic. And feeling has the function of experiencing the desired aspect or undesired aspect of the object.
Can you say that again?
Feeling has the function, has the function of experiencing desirable aspect or undesirable aspect of an object. For example, you will understand. For example, some cake is very delicious. So this is called the desirable aspect. Then the pleasant feeling will experience the desirable aspect of the cake. You know, we have 6 types of objects, right? What are the 6 types of objects? Number 1, visible objects. Visible, what eye sees, right? We call visible object. Second, sound. Third, smell. Fourth, taste. Fifth, tangible touch. Yeah, tangible, we call tangible. Number 6, mental object. Okay. So all these 6 types of object have their own desirable aspect or agreeable aspect or undesirable or disagreeable aspect. For example, praise, somebody praise you. This is called desirable aspect of the sound. somebody abuse you, this is called undesirable aspects of the sound. All object has desirable aspect and undesirable aspect. So, for example, now your eyes sees a beautiful object. For example, a man sees a very beautiful woman. Okay, so do you experience pleasant feeling or not? Yes, yes. Yes. So who is experiencing that desirable aspect of that woman? What? Mind and mental. Your eye and mental. What else?
Judgment.
Judgment.
Yeah, judgment.
Okay.
Like giving points.
Okay.
Oh, he has 10 points, 10 over 10.
Okay, the precise answer is feeling.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking feeling. Okay, the precise answer is pleasant feeling, experiencing the desirable aspect of that woman.
Yeah.
So if you can see this way, whatever, for example, you hear somebody praise you, so you feel very pleasant. At the time, you should make a mark or pleasant feeling is experiencing the desirable aspect of that praise. If you don't mark it like that, you will feel, oh, I feel so pleasant, and you are developing Sakaya Ditti. You are developing identity view. You make the ego bigger and bigger. So now, for example, you are tasting, you are eating something very delicious. Who experienced the delicious aspect of the food?
Feeling.
If you say feeling is 70% correct, not 100% correct.
Your sense of touching.
Because why I say 70% correct? Because we have 3 types of feeling.
3 types.
So which type of feeling feels the delicious aspect of the food?
Pleasant feeling.
Yeah, this is 100% correct answer. Okay.
Pleasant feeling.
So as a meditator, you must be able to differentiate what is pleasant feeling, what is unpleasant feeling, what is neither pleasant nor unpleasant, right? For example, somebody abuse you, you cannot say pleasant feeling experiencing the abusive word. No, you cannot tell like that. Therefore, precise answer is important.
Yeah.
So if we can understand these 3 types of feeling and how the pleasant feeling experiencing the desirable aspect of 6 objects and how unpleasant feeling experiencing undesirable aspect of the 6 type of object, then we will not entertain perception of self. Therefore, feeling become one of the foundation. In the Satipatthana Sutta, 4 foundation I explained yesterday. So one's called feeling, contemplation on feeling. It's become one of the foundation that can lead you to liberation. Okay, next aggregate is perception, sanya. So what is perception? Memory. Okay, sanya got 2 meaning. One is marking. Second one is so that you can remember, right? For example, your first time see the bird flying in the sky. How can you remember this bird? You have to mark first, right?
Yeah.
Mark is wing flying in the sky. So first we mark the specific or special feature of the object. Then so that help us to remember. So sanya perception got 2 meanings. One is marking special picture of the object so that next time I can remember. This is called sanya. And unfortunately, throughout our life, we mark wrongly. We keep on marking wrongly. How we mark wrongly?
We put our judgment in
We put our judgment. Okay. What else? What else?
We thought everything is permanent.
Yes, correct. Correct. Buddha says sabbe sankhara anicca, but we mark sabbe sankhara anicca. Alright? Buddha said all phenomena is impermanent, but in our mind, when we eat something very delicious, and we always think the delicious is permanent, right? It's like next time you see the food again, you want to eat again because you think the taste is permanent. And so what we think also, whatever we see, hear, smell, taste, touch and think, we mark it as permanent. We're not only marking, we not only mark permanent, we also mark everything is what we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we think bring us happiness. So we also mark happiness, right? And we mark, permanent, and we mark happiness. We also mark wrongly. There is a self, a permanent self experience everything. There's a permanent self seeing, there's a permanent self hearing, there's a permanent self smelling, tasting, touching and thinking. Okay, next question. When you mark wrongly in this way, what happened?
You suffering more.
When you mark wrongly in this way, you developed strong attachment. You develop strong attachment to your body, to your feeling, to what you see, what you hear, what you thought. And Buddha said, attachment is the origin of all suffering. So, how to change our perception? How to change the wrong marking into correct one?
How we think remind ourselves everything is impermanent.
Yeah.
Not only remind. Yesterday I have to share with you how to note, how to contemplate, right? Yesterday what I teach, whatever you hear, you see, just mark impermanent, impermanent, sometimes interchangeably, not the self, not the self, not the self. So yesterday I already teach you the method, how to change your perception. Otherwise, you will keep suffering again because of wrong marking. Now you have to change your wrong marking into correct one. Therefore, perception is very important. Otherwise, it will not become one of the 5 aggregates. Because wrong marking leads to strong attachment and suffering. Okay, next aggregate is fabrication, or we call formation of sankhara khanda. What is sankhara or fabrication? That is, you have desire to do something, to say something, or to think something, or to achieve something. It's called sankhara. So in this action, what you think, what you speak, what you act, there's one force that push you to think, to act, to speak. That force is called cetana, intention or will, intention, or willing, or cetana, intention and desire. Intention, desire, will. These are the force that push you to speak, to act, to think. And this cetana, Buddha says, cetana means karma. Buddha says, cetana hang bhikkhave kammam vadami. I declare Cetana is karma. Therefore, fabrication aggregate or formation aggregate or sankhara aggregate responsible for wholesome karma and unwholesome karma. And as a Buddhist, we understand once karma performed, it leaves behind, we call karmic energy. And this karmic energy will follow the doer, follow him from life to life, from life to life. And whenever there's opportunity, this karma will ripen and spring out, become the effect. And you will experience either happiness or sorrow of your life because of the maturing of your karma. Therefore, this fabrication aggregate is also very important because it's responsible for making the karma. And the karma is the karma that brings us go around the cycle of rebirth again and again. Okay, so the last one is called, before I go to the last one, I have a question for you. Okay, so we say karma, after we making the karma, then the karma follow after us, life after life. So where the karma store? If you can answer this question correctly, then your understanding of the Dhamma is perfect. So where the karma store?
In the memory mind, in memory group, deep down.
Very hot. You are very hot. Okay. Okay. So, no. So, I think it's a King Milinda asked Nagasena, Venerable Nagasena is Arahant. Where the karma stop? We talk about karma. Once we perform karma, we leave behind karmic energy. When this karmic energy ripen, we suffer. Okay? Okay, now where the karma stop? Please explain to me. King Milinda asked Venerable Nagasena. And Venerable Nagasena didn't answer directly, but he gave a simile. He said that, Your Majesty King, have you ever seen any mango fruit or not? Then the king said, of course. Okay. Now it's not a mango season, right? When during mango season we see the mango fruit, but now not a mango season. Where the mango store? Store where? Where the mango store?
No, in the seed.
In the seed? Somewhere.
Somebody say it's a chicken have first or the egg have first. Yes.
Okay, I think we as an audience easily carried away by the question they put. If we say, if somebody asks where they store, and our mind easily carried away by the question, and we go and try to find a place where it's stored, right? Because when you ask where, then you are searching for a place where it's stored. So just want to advise you, don't be misled by the question. Okay, now where the mango store?
When they have complete all the conditions, Sayalay, is it just like in a fire? So basically when you blow off the candle, where does the fire go, right? Or even when an Arahant achieves Nibbana, the light just go off. So
But
where does it go?
yeah, but it's different from the where it's stored. You don't answer me where it's stored. Okay, so anybody want to try? The gentleman, where is stored?
I think I can summarize their answers. So they talked about the conditions and also the 12 dependents, the origin of the dependence.
Very good.
See?
Very good. So the king meaning the Nagasena said that king meaning king. So when the Nagasena asked the king where the mango store, then the king also smart person. It doesn't store anywhere. It doesn't store. We cannot say the mango store in the seed. People will laugh at you, right? No, it's store in the branch. No, store in the trunk. No. So the king meaning that is also very smart. He said it doesn't store anywhere. But when in due season, the mango fruit just come out. That's all. Then the Venerable Nagasena said exactly. This called thing comes from condition, right? Same our karma. Our karma does not store anywhere, but when the time is ripe, just like mango is ripe, mango come out. So when time is ripe, then the karma will produce its effect. That's all. Okay. So in teaching of Buddha, everything is dependent a reason. Depend on cause and effect. Okay, now we go to the fifth aggregate. Consciousness aggregate. There are 6 types of consciousness. Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and mind consciousness. So when your eye sees something, how do you say? How do you say? I am seeing. When your eye sees something, how do you say? I am seeing, right? No? Not smart already. So how to answer? So when your eye sees something, you should say eye consciousness sees something. When you hear something, you should not say I am hearing. You say ear consciousness hears something. When you're tasting, you say tongue consciousness tastes something. So if you can say like that, the mind think of something, you say mind think of something, not I am thinking. The mind think of something. So if we can see like that, always remind like that, then we are gradually eradicate or remove the perception of self. Otherwise we will say, I am seeing, I am hearing, I am tasting, I am thinking, everything is I. Without I don't know how to survive in this world. So consciousness aggregate is also very important because Buddha said, we strongly cling to the mind, we strongly cling to the consciousness. From life to life, even though we abandon this body, when we die, we throw away this body, right? Abandon this body, but the consciousness continue to arising and passing away, continue to go.
Yeah.
And next life, you got a new body, you don't attach to the old body anymore, but you still attach to your consciousness. Right? So the attachment to the consciousness is much stronger than attachment to the body. Therefore, consciousness becomes the subject of clinging. We strongly cling to our consciousness as I. I see, I hear, I taste, I think. And we also strongly attach or cling to the consciousness as myself. As though consciousness equal to yourself. So when we strongly cling to the consciousness, I, myself, belong to me, then it's very difficult for us to see the conditional arising phenomena. Because we already think this consciousness as I, myself, it is permanent. It's permanent, it's always there. Therefore, then it's difficult for us to understand conditional mind or consciousness is also conditional phenomena due to our strong grasping. Like what I have explained yesterday, when we get very angry, we say, I am angry, I am angry. We forgot to say that mind affected by anger as mind affected by anger. And this angry mind is just a phenomena, a conditional phenomena, conditional arising phenomena, right? if we don't mark in that way, if we don't mark this anger mind, angry is mind affected by anger and it arises due to condition, then in our mind we will grasp to this angry mind as myself. I am angry. Anger belongs to me again and again. So we are far away from liberation. Therefore, this consciousness, mind, become also one of the foundation. We call Citta, Nupassana, Satipatthana. Become one of the four foundations for us to develop mindfulness and wisdom. Here, wisdom means to see through the consciousness is not I, not mine, not myself. By way of seeing is impermanent, seeing is dukkha, seeing is anatta, not myself. Only then you can change your wrong perception. Okay, so however, Buddha compared this consciousness like magician, right? So magician, how to play magic? He take one stone and say, become gold. So he can easily turn the stone to become gold. Simply, we are always cheated by our own thoughts. We are always cheated by our own mind. So sometimes certain thoughts arise in you. Don't trust it, okay? Don't trust it immediately. So you should note it and impermanent, and let it go. If you cling to it, trust your thought, it becomes real. When it becomes real, you react to it, then we suffer. I give you an example in Dhammapada, okay? There's one young monk called Sankarakita. His uncle is Dhammarakita, very famous Mahathera. So when he became young, the Sankarakita became ordained under his uncle. So one day, he received a very fine, after Vasa, he received a set of refined robes. So he was very happy, he wanted to offer to his uncle, Dhammarakita, who is senior monk. But his uncle thought to himself, he said that I am famous monk. There's so many people offer me so many robes. I have enough robe. But my nephew, just a new monk. New monk get less offering, right? So he doesn't accept his robe. He wants his nephew to use himself. So he said, no, please, I'm not going to accept your offering. And the Sankarakita, the young man, feel very depressed when his offering is not accepted. And he start to think, my uncle doesn't like me. My uncle doesn't like me. So he feel very depressed. And his uncle know his mind in order to, to cheer him up. Please come behind me and fanning for me, fanning for me to show the close relation. The young monk, because he already had the thought, my uncle didn't like me. And when you keep on thinking the same thought, it becomes real, right? So he said, oh, my uncle didn't like me. Although he's fencing behind him, he said, my uncle didn't like me, my uncle didn't like me. And he think, if my uncle didn't like me, why not I disrobe? I'm going to disrobe and sell all this fine robe and buy, exchange for a goat. And when this female goat, and when this female goat bear his baby, for so many baby, then I got a lot of money, then I'm going to marry a young, beautiful woman. Okay? I'm going to marry one young, beautiful woman. Do you want me to stop or you want me to continue?
You can continue.
Okay. So, then he started to think, behind fanning me, thinking all this thought. Then he said that after I married, my wife gives son. give son. Then I will bring my wife and son to pay respect to my uncle. We go by horse cart. But in the horse cart, I want to take care of the baby. My wife didn't allow me, so I get very angry. I take one stick and hit on her head. At the time, the thought already come to reality. Because he trusts his thought, the thought become real. So while fending, he used pen and beat his senior monk. Story is trying to tell us, when you indulge in the thoughts, you make the thoughts real. When you make the thought real, you react to the thought. So we are living in the illusion created by one's own mind. Therefore, it's very important to be aware of your thought, your thinking, right? So that not to be cheated. So these are the 5 aggregates. And these 5 aggregates, let us repeat. Number 1, form aggregate. Second one, feeling aggregate. Third one, perception aggregate. Fourth one, fabrication or formation aggregate. The last one, consciousness aggregate. And these 5 are ultimate truth. Conventional truth, we say this body, this I myself. I myself is conventional truth. The inner ultimate reality is 5 aggregates. So how we attach to this 5 aggregate by way of what? We attach to this 5 aggregate as mind by way of craving. So when you tell this feeling is mine, this perception is mine, I consciousness is mine, so we attach to this 5 aggregate by way of craving. And sometimes we attach to this 5 aggregate, we say that, it is myself, right? Myself feeling unhappy, myself seeing, myself testing, everything is myself. So we cling to this 5 aggregate as myself by way of wrong view. Also attached to this 5 aggregate by way of, like we say, I am so and so, I am superior, I am professor, I am this and this, engineer, by way of conceit, manna, conceit. Therefore, this 5 aggregate become the subject of clinging or attachment by way of craving, wrong view, and conceit. And it become the truth of suffering. Okay. What is the second noble truth? Now we finish the first noble truth, right? What is the second noble truth?
Và cái sự thật thứ hai đó là gì? Sự thật cao thượng thứ hai là
Yes, the origin of suffering. What is the origin of suffering? Samudaya Satcha. What is the origin of suffering? Tanha. There are 3 types of tanha, right? There are 3 types. Tanha, craving. Craving is the origin of suffering. So there are 3 types of craving. Number 1 is called bhava tanha. Number 1 is called kamma tanha. Kamma tanha, craving to the sensual desire. We and Deva, heavenly beings, we all live in the sensual world. Therefore, it is very natural for us to attach to sensual desire. So some Buddhists, they do dana and they pray, may I be born in heaven, so that they can enjoy sensual pleasure in heaven. And in human world, our eyes, our ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind always chase after sensual objects. Okay, second is called bhava tanha, craving for existence, craving for becoming, craving for continuing to live. This is the reason we are afraid of death. We want to live continuously, again and again. Although we say, samsara dukkha, but when reaching death, we say no, not for me. The craving to existence, continue to live, is very strong craving. I will give you an example. Let's say, now you walk out to the street and you see a corpse, animal corpse, die for many days, and foul smell, very bad smell come out from the corpse. What will you do when you come across a corpse in front of you? What will you do? Run away. Okay, run away. Oh, I agree, run away. Okay, now assume, we go on boat and the boat collapses. We fall into the water on the sea, and we don't know how to swim. We are struggling in the water, and suddenly a smelly corpse, same corpse, come close to you. What will you do? What will you do? Grab it. Okay, so why the first time you see the corpse, your reaction different from the second time? Why? Okay, this is called bhava tanha. Okay, craving for existence. Just a simple, similarly you understand already. It's called craving for existence. Okay, so this craving for existence is associated with wrong view of sasata ditthi. This craving for existence is associated with wrong view of sasata ditthi. How do I say in English? Permanent or eternalism, the view of eternalism. So this craving for existence associated with eternalism, the view of eternalism, thinking that it is the same self, same person go reborn again. They think it's the same person. It's called eternalism view. Is this view correct or not? Okay, not correct. Then how should we view? How should we view for the rebirth? Yes, with condition. With condition, Buddha says, avijja paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, vijnana paccaya namarupa. Namarupa means this five aggregates. So the middle way, Buddha says, sasata ditthi, eternalism view is extreme view. We should avoid. And another one, craving for non-existence, is associated with annihilation view, which is also another extreme. Buddha say, avoid these two extreme, go middle path. Middle path means dependent origination. Okay, so we must understand this second noble truth, the truth of suffering. If we don't understand the truth of suffering, is these three types of craving, then it's called avijja. Okay, the third, and Buddha say this, the second noble truth, which is craving tanha, must be abandoned. How to abandon this craving? So, this craving, okay, ask another question. Where this craving take roots? How this craving develop in our mind?
It's like illusion.
Illusion and okay. In the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, under the Four Noble Truths, Buddha say, how this craving take roots? How this craving developed in our mind? When we see whatever we see we hear, we taste, we smell, we taste, we touch, we think, and we consider them as pleasant. We consider them as happiness. This is how craving takes roots. So if you see the beautiful object, they say the man sees beautiful woman, so he has pleasant feeling and he develops craving for the beautiful woman. But if a man sees very ugly woman, will you develop craving or not?
No.
Right? Same like woman. If you see a very ugly man, do you love him or like him?
No.
But if you see a very handsome man, you want to look more and more, right? So why the craving arises in you? Because you see, you consider the object is beautiful, pleasant, permanent. This is how craving takes roots. This is such an important statement. If you understand this statement, you know how to meditate vipassana. So since it's so important, let me repeat one more time. The craving is developed when you consider whatever object you see, you hear, you sense is pleasant, is permanent, is having a self. Okay? When you consider like that, you develop craving more and more. Then, how to remove this craving? Correct. That is the reason why. This is the reason why I always teach my students to contemplate impermanent. Not without reason, okay? Not without reason, okay? So when whatever object you perceive, you hear, you think, if you contemplate impermanent, at that moment you are cutting off the craving, which is the cause of all suffering. Okay. So now we come to the third noble truth, is the cessation of all suffering, which is called Nibbana. Okay, but what is Nibbana? It's very abstract things. Okay, the third noble truth, the cessation of suffering. Then the second noble truth is what? Origin of suffering. So origin of suffering and the cessation of suffering are closely related, right? So the cessation of suffering means the cessation of craving. Therefore, Nibbana means departure of craving. So if a yogi does not understand the cessation of craving itself is called Nibbana, then he has avijja. Okay, so last one, in order to reach the cessation of craving or the cessation of suffering, what should we do? Walking the Noble Eightfold Path, right? And this, because Noble Eightfold Path is very long, I'm not going to explain to you today, but Noble Eightfold Path can be summarized into three only: Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Morality, concentration, and wisdom. So to walk the path leading to the cessation of suffering, we must cultivate our morality first. Then second, we have to practice concentration. Then third, we must practice wisdom. So what is this wisdom? What is wisdom? Okay, what's right view? Yeah. Okay, wisdom is right view. And what's right view? Seeing anicca, dukkha, anatta is right view. Okay, so come back again. Must see anicca, dukkha, anatta. And when you see anicca, dukkha, anatta, you develop wisdom until finally you understand the Four Noble Truths. So wisdom finally understand the Four Noble Truths, and the mind become Vijja, no more avijja, become Vijja. So this is our final aim, to develop Sila Samadhi Panya in order to see through the nature of all things and to develop wisdom to understand the Four Noble Truths. Without understanding the Four Noble Truths, one cannot reach liberation. Okay, I think that's all for today. Any question? Yeah.
Well, with me, I need to ask. So you, the teaching of Buddha say that the origin of dukkha is
Craving.
craving. Yeah. But if we enjoy a good Dhamma talk, and we want to have another Dhamma talk, we want you to come back. It's a good craving, but is it wrong or wrong?
No, this is called Dhamma Chanda. Dhamma Chanda.
What does that mean?
Desire for Dhamma. This is not considered
The
craving, because by listening to Dhamma talk, you develop wisdom. That is helping you to walk the path. So we cannot say this is unwholesome. This is Dhamma Chanda, wholesome desire. So whether I come or not come also depend on condition. Just like the mango, depend on condition. When the condition right, mango ripe, I come. When condition not right,
I have two more questions,
Okay.
please. Yeah, please. Yeah. One question is for meditation. When I sit down, I often feel, asleep. Sleepy. Yes. So I tell myself, I'm sitting. I remind myself before like that. But now, we should not say self. So what should I say? Can I say like stand up, stand up or something? I don't know how.
You should
So please.
directly observe your sleepiness. Observe.
Observe.
Yesterday I teach mindfulness and wisdom, right?
Yes.
You observe your sleepiness and take it as external object, nothing to do with you. Although you are sleeping, you are sleepy. You take it as an object and observe it, indifferently, then your mind will become clear again. Yeah, you have to learn this technique.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Next question. So I'm sorry, I still have a few doubts about it because I learned that in psychology they have a subconscious. Yeah.
Subconsciousness.
Yeah. So everything is stored in the subconscious. So even the habit and the skill we learn from one life will come back in another life. So how do you, where are these skills, are these habits? Like I heard of Sariputta, he's a arahant, but somehow he walked and he jumped and he walked because it's a habit from another life. So how come this habit cannot stop it, and where it stops?
Okay, first, why should you cling to know where is stored? Where is stored so important for you?
Yes.
So in Buddha's teaching, everything is arising, passing away, right? So one moment consciousness arise, pass away, arise, pass away. But it also pass over the trait, our character trait. Although arising and passing away, it also pass over our character trait. So that we have certain character, right? Although it's arising and passing away, but it also pass over our trait, T-R-A-I-T, character trait. Yeah. So that this character is with us from life to life. But in Buddhism, we didn't say it's stored somewhere. We didn't say storage, non-storage.
He just made a comment that because the craving to the consciousness is so much stronger than the body, that it can transfer the traits over, just like you mentioned. Is it?
Something like that, but not exactly, something like that.
Say that.
Okay, yes, there's a...
He said that because of the condition, he's not sure when you will be back to Santi Suba, but have you written any book that he can have access to?
Oh, yes, I have written many books. So, only one book is for sales. In Amazon, but no, Amazon I only sell, they sell $19.9, but out of stock. So somebody buy my book, used book, and resell $100. Anyway, okay, so my other books are all in my website. You go to sayalaysusīlā.net. Then there are Chinese book, English book, only two, Chinese and English book. So you can print out for free. Or you can listen to many of my talk. Many of my talk also all in my website. Please don't buy from Amazon, okay? Okay, last question first. You want to ask the
you mentioned about the consciousness, and also in your teaching, you mentioned about the impermanence of life.
Yes.
So, like you say, our physical body will, be, or anything, it will be affected by the law of impermanence. And my simple question is, what the consciousness that you mentioned about transporting from one life or form to another, could that be affected by the law of impermanence as well?
Mean the consciousness transfer from one life to another and be affected by impermanent law. Of course. Consciousness itself is arising, passing away. It already impermanent, but it also leave behind some trait, T-R-A-I-T, character trait. That's why we have, each person has their own different character and come from life after life. Although it's impermanent, but it still leave behind some trait along the consciousness. Yeah. Okay, last question.
If nobody asks the last question, may I?
Wait first.
Yes.
See anybody put up the hand.
Just wait for it.
Okay, you wait first.
So if nobody, I'll be the last one.
Okay.
Should I?
Go ahead. They invite you to ask.
Thank you. My question is related to what the teacher said. You were talking about the unconscious level of psyche. So, and you also saying about observance.
Yes.
So that means being observer of the observer.
Yes.
In a way.
Okay.
So, if so, then I know that when we do meditation, it means we would go down to the deeper level of the unconscious.
Unconscious.
So
No, in Buddha speaking, no unconsciousness.
From
Okay?
the conscious level to the unconscious level. So I don't know how deep we go according to the meditation. But being observer of the observer, how would we be able to be not totally, but somewhat objective and transparent enough to see the aggregates or any remnants of our past life, in order to, as we can observe it and we can know it, at least we can let go of it. Otherwise, it keeps remaining in the conscious level.
Correct. So, in order to see our past life, to see clearly what we have done, that make up the present me, you need very strong jhana. Jhana, absorption. Yes, you need strong jhana in order to see your past life. But some people somehow they have this ability. For example, when I teach, one retreat only 5 or 6 days in Malaysia, one yogi after 4th day, she can see her past life. Some people without jhana also. Some people by nature don't know how, the past life just pop up. Then she understands why she got this scar. They explain why, So some people without jhana also somehow when she come to meditation, then the past life just pop up like that. But for usually, in order to see our past life clearly, we have to develop jhana. We need deep concentration in order to, to trace back the past. But there's one way without jhana you can try. That is hypnosis. Yeah, it's true. You go for if you can be hypnotized. Not everybody can be hypnotized. I definitely cannot be hypnotized. Okay. So if you go hypnosis, then he will guide you. Then gradually your past life will pop up. Then you can sometimes can solve many things which you cannot solve in this present life. So this one way if you want to try, because to gain jhana is not everybody can gain jhana. But that one is for healing. Hypnosis for healing your certain symptom you have. That I think is no harm to try if you really have something block you.
But is knowing your past life, is that significant in your practice?
For some people, they have certain trauma or phobia that if they can see their past life, that can solve the problem. So, but for the spiritual path, may not so important. But to solve some trauma and phobia, that seeing the past is definitely help. And also to solve some anger that you bury for so long with somebody. Because you don't know why, you just don't like this person, you just hate this person, or somebody bully you, why this person always take advantage of you. There's some question that within you, for so long and you cannot find an answer. But after hypnosis, maybe the answer will pop up. Then you solve the problem. Therefore, I say sometimes it's also good. But not definitely spiritual part, not necessary to see one's past life. Okay, I think that's all for today.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let us transfer marriage. Just follow after me. Etawata, Chamehi, Sampadang, Punya Sampadang, Sabbe Deva, Sabbe Buddha, Sabbe Satta, Anumodantu, Sabba, Sampati, Siddhya, Idame, Ponyam, Nippanasa, Pacayo, Hodu, Idang no, Punya Bagam, Sabba Satanam, Dema, Sadhu. May all of you be well.